Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Corp Draw commentated video. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Josh.
We are at Game Depot in Tempe, Arizona. This is Mike Clement versus Mark the Wacky Zawacki. This is their first game of their set. It's NBN making news versus Andromeda.
So a couple of locals here.
The dispossessed Risty.
Yep. A couple of locals here. We see Mike and Mark at a lot of the local tournaments.
Yes, we do.
Very common faces. So we have Mark on Andromeda. Mark keeps his 9, while Mike debates on keeping his 9, and he keeps it.
Yep.
So we see an install over HQ, and taking $2.
Probably would have liked to see one more piece of ice.
Yeah, I mean, can't really ask for much.
Mark's got a sure gamble first click.
Sure gamble. So with Mark's keep, it looks like he's got Maker's Eye, which is really good against R&D. He's also got some extra money cards.
It's fantastic against a naked
R&D.
Let's see if he's going to do it.
Oh, I would.
I think he's thinking about it.
Do it all day.
He has that top card in his hand. Here he goes. Yep. Maker's Eye. He's going to see 3 cards. 1,
2. Oh, it's a too good to be true.
Oh.
The most annoying agenda in the game. Oh my goodness.
More annoying than a fetal AI?
I don't know. Fetal AI gives you 2 points, right?
That's true.
I mean, as the runner, I would rather see a fetal AI than it's good to be true.
It costs you 2 and 2 cards.
And 2 cards.
And probably 3 cards, let's be honest.
Yeah, because of personal evolution. But the thing is, too good to be true. It also costs you another click to remove the tag just so you don't die to Scorched Earth. So, because of that, Mark is going to have to pitch a card because he's only played 3 cards this turn. He played the Sure Gamble, the Maker's Eye, and then finally the Armitage Code Busting, pitching the tag because you never know what could happen. Even though you've got 5 cards in hand, he could have a Closed Accounts or Scorched Earth to punish the tag.
And he's going to get rid of Special
Order.
We'll see if that comes back to bite him later.
I don't know. It might. We see that he has a Corroder in hand.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Maybe he's confident in just having the Corroder? Either that or he wants to keep his 2 easy marks.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if I probably would have pitched 1 easy mark instead of the Special Order here just because the Armitage gives you a lot of money. You already have at least 1 easy mark in hand. So, as long as you're running properly and efficiently, you really don't need as much money.
Correct.
So
yeah,
we'll
I
see.
Totally agree.
So, but Mark keeps the 2 easy marks, and he decides to play both of them here.
It's actually a card that I don't really typically see that often in criminal decks.
Yeah, in criminal, single click for $3, that's actually not getting you that much. Like when you can use the Make a Run action to get you agendas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can have a lot more efficient money solutions like Desperado or I don't know, like Bank Job, Account Siphon.
Mark inside jobbing HQ. This is a toll booth, I believe.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I like the blind inside job onto HQ. Now, while it makes it so you don't suffer any nasty effects from that first ice on HQ.
You also don't get to be a douche afterwards by shutting something down.
Yeah, exactly. I think just blind running on it wouldn't be bad. Now you might run into something big like a toll booth or a flare, but at this point in the game, a toll booth is just minus $3.
Yep.
A flare is just 2 damage. It's really like we've seen a lot of scarier ice in other, like there are some scarier ice, but Mike is probably just not running that.
Not in NBN. I think the scarier ice you're probably going to see in HB. Going to play a Forge activation right here.
And he hits a pop-up window.
Fantastic.
That is the worst feeling.
That is the worst feeling.
I think Forged Activation Orders has kind of gone a little down in the in terms of how much is being played. My Gabe deck actually didn't run a single copy, and that's the one that I won the Tucson Store Championship with.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Forged Activation Orders is not a good card. I just think that it I don't know. You have to be making them spend a lot of money from it.
Correct.
And it's not as easy to make them spend a lot of money,
right?
Unless you know exactly what that ice is that you're forging.
And some of those other scarier ice I was saying, like HB, Genteki typically have some really nasty ones that you can hit early that you probably don't want to see.
Right, like Fenris or Neural Katana.
Yep.
Tsurugi.
We're seeing another Maker's Eye here.
Yeah, just paying the $1. Mike getting $1. That's what they're chatting about here. All right, we've seen 3 cards.
Ice.
And a Bernice Mai.
Probably
trash the Bernice Mai.
I would trash Bernice Mai every time I see her.
Yeah, spending $3 to trash her instead of trying to avoid the tag and then trashing her. Definitely.
She's just annoying also. I hate that card.
Oh, man.
I hate seeing it.
The fact that she's 0 to res makes it so worth it for the Corp. You know, It costs a click to install, but you're just going to get so much value out of it once you res it.
Mike is sick of being Maker's Eye.
Yeah. It's happened twice already, and though Mark has only got 1 point out of it. And probably the best 1 point to give away. Here, Mike, he preemptively ices up archives. Now, that's might not be a common play against Andromeda, but you never know when they're going to slip in the sneaky sneak door beta.
And it's smart in this play, because we did see Mark just draw one a couple seconds ago. Drawing again gets a HQ interface. And he's going to take some money off of Armitage.
Going to have to pitch a card, it looks like. I think he's got 6 cards. No, just the 5. Now, icing up archives against Andromeda is actually not that bad of an idea because they commonly run either Sneak Door Beta or Data Sucker.
Yes.
Icing up archives against Data Sucker means that they can't make those free runs getting Data Sucker tokens and Desperado dollars.
Correct.
So it's obvious that it's a good play now because we see that Mark has the Sneak Door Beta.
Yep.
So we see Mike just building up his servers, getting some money. And he's not really under that much pressure right now from Mark. So
no, Mark's not running a lot early. He saw that pop-up window. He
got scared maybe. No,
I guess
the
pop-up window's a scary card.
I think here this is really where the criminal needs to start running. Now you don't have the breakers to lose from destroyers that you might be scared of.
Correct.
So I don't know exactly what he's waiting for. We see at the end of Mark's turn he pitches a Corroder.
Early aggression is definitely Criminal's game at the moment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you're not taking advantage of that, you're probably falling behind.
Right. Well, Andromeda, her big deal is having a big start, right? And we see that big start. We saw a couple Maker's Eyes. We saw a bunch of money cards.
Yep.
So he's waiting in the cash. He just needs to be able to leverage that cash into keeping the run or the Corp poor and making sure that they can't res all of the pieces of ice that they have.
And Mike is not poor right now. He's only have to spend money on that pop-up window, which cost him $0.
Which cost him $0. He has had a hedge fund, and pretty much all of his actions during his turn are either installing ice or taking money. So I think at this point, if I were Mark, I would just start face checking ice.
I would.
Seeing what you got.
Yeah, I think that you kind of have to do that early if you're a criminal. Or anyone, really. I mean, if you let the Corp get up in money, it can be tough going.
Uh-huh. All right, so Mark here, I think we got to start making some runs with Mark. Making the Corp spend some money. In his hand, we see HQ interface, Sneak Door Beta. We saw... Corroder, yep. We see...
Another Armitage?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think there was a Crypsis in there.
Oh, an emergency shutdown, too.
Yeah, a shutdown. Third click, he's running HQ, and we see a wraparound. That guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that guy. You know, if you're playing against like a Parasite deck, that's really good.
It's very good against Parasite decks. It's also just good early. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of early game ice is right around that strength. Typically only costs 1 or 2 credits to get through, but can keep you out early. It's cheap to res.
This card has some splash damage towards Kit. This is really good against even Torch.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Costs Torch $4 to break unless you have a Fractor. So wrap around. That's a Netrunner card right there.
That is a Netrunner card, folks.
So Mike, he opts to put some more ice over his remote. This is kind of the idea of his deck. He's running a Chilo City Grid Bernice Mai deck.
That's right. This is his Chilo deck.
Which we've actually seen some pretty good success from our own Corp draw person, Jason Flanzer.
That's correct. He did win a store championship at Desert Sky Games last weekend.
So here we see a forged activation orders on the innermost piece of ice on HQ.
Mike thinking about whether to res it.
We do know that it is a toll booth, which is kind of a lot of money. Costs you $8 to res that.
I don't think you want to get rid of that, though.
No, it's a huge wall that's just keeping Andromeda out of HQ, so she can't do her account siphons.
There you go.
Toll booth.
Inside job that.
There's no getting into HQ. And I think we don't see Mark get into HQ for the rest of the game, except through other sneaky ways.
Perhaps that sneak door data.
So it looks like Mark has 2 more clicks. I'm going to see him. I think he installs the sneak door beta here. But if I remember right, I don't think he runs. I'm just going to take some money here or add to Katie Jones. Now playing the sneak door beta, it obviously shows his hand. Maybe keeping the sneak door beta for the first click in his next turn might have been a better move, because you would only have to get through one piece of ice.
I think that's some good tech for newer Netrunner players out there to kind of know, is that as the runner, all of your cards are out on the table. The only hidden information that you have is what's in your hand. And if you have something that you can't really play, if you can't use it this turn, it's probably a good idea to hold back installing it till the turn that you can use it, just to give that little bit of surprise. And you can see here,
just to be spontaneous.
And as you can see here, Mike, that playing that sneak door beta on your third click telegraphs that you're going to be running there. So Mike goes ahead and installs over a second piece of ice over archives, making it harder to get in, where that sneak door would have been a lot better played on your first click and running second click, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree here. Now we see same old thing coming down for Mark. That was his second click. He's got 2 more clicks.
Let's see what he does here.
I want to see some runs. Why not run the R&D? It's only a
pop-up window, folks.
Window. What else could it be?
And Mike has spent some money here. He's spent $10.
Yeah,
11 if you count the couple. 12 if you count the 2 pieces of ice above R&D and archives.
Yeah, who knows? You might it could be a flare and he can't res it. So
yeah, absolutely.
But he opts to same old thing. The forged activation orders revealing the wraparound.
So he's another wraparound.
Now he's got that corroder in hand, so he can
play
that as soon as he wants. But at this point, I wouldn't play it and just run willy-nilly, because you could run straight into a destroyer and lose it. So
that's a fact. You do need a little bit of protection at this point, and probably some memory.
Yeah. So Mike plays Sweeps Week, gaining some money, checking his ice, see if he can see if he feels safe enough to try and score an agenda out of that remote. Now we know that he does have. I believe he has a Too Good to Be True in hand.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier.
Maybe he can bait Mark into a.
And that's what he installed there, I believe.
Installs the Too Good to Be True.
See if Mark takes the bait there. First click, he draws.
We see a Crash Space.
Crash Space. What does Crash Space do, Josh?
Crash Space, I believe it installs for 2, if I'm not mistaken. It has 2 recurring credits that you can use for removing tags, and you can trash it to prevent 3 meat damage.
Not an often played card, however, against the Chilo green deck, you'll probably need those $2 to remove some tags.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
You've already seen Too Good to Be True, so
that's true.
That's going to save you $2 at least one more time.
And there it is, installing.
Crash Space. So that was his final click. He's been gaining some money, drawn a couple cards, and then played the Crash Space final click.
There you go.
So here, Mike sees that. Well, we know that Mark didn't bite on the Too Good to Be True. So I wonder if Michael will choose to score it. I don't think he does. I think he wants to try and get some value out of it. Too Good to Be True.
I think that I would probably score this in this case. I think you've kind of seen right now that Mark is a little shy about running.
Yeah, without any breakers. Yeah,
and I think if you can score even like a Too Good to Be True, obviously you want someone else to be scoring that to get the tag. But I think at this point, I think you score agendas when you can. If you can score an agenda,
yeah. If he's not running on face down cards, might as well just score those face down cards if they're agendas.
I think I would.
But instead, Mike opts to play a private contracts, and I believe he bumps it twice. Yeah.
I think by doing that, right now Mark is kind of giving Mike time.
Yeah.
And Mike is not taking it.
Yeah, I think
he's giving it back.
I think Mark has kind of put himself into the mid-game position, even though he's still technically like in the early game position. Now, I define the mid-game as having the start to a rig, but not the rig finished.
Yeah.
And you have something in your rig that you would not like to lose from a destroyer.
Correct.
So I think Mark is overvaluing the sneak door beta here, and he doesn't want to lose it. No, if he just ran the remote, I think if I remember right, seeing him install, I think it's an RSVP and maybe into a toll booth.
No, it was Data Raven, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a Data Raven in front of the pop-up window.
No, I'm sorry, into the remote. So RSVP and then a toll booth in the remote.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's bad that he won't be able to get in. However, making Mike spend the money to try and protect his things that are in the remote might just make it worth running at least.
So Mark installs a Crypsis, doesn't run on that remote again. Let's see what Mike does. In response, he has an Astro script and a Project Beal in his hand. See what he chooses to do with those cards.
I think he's just going to take money from private contracts.
I believe that's what he does. Again, I think...
Oh, yeah. So it's now Mark's turn.
Okay, yeah.
Draws for his first click, seeing a lawyer up.
Interesting card against this deck also.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's actually really good because if he hits you with your fat mid-seasons, you can at least take 2 of the cards.
That's
true.
Take 2
of the tags away.
The thing about Chilo Green, folks, is that if you don't know, the tags tend to come in multiples.
Yeah, oh man. If you have a Chilo city grid in a remote, and in front of it, imagine this: Ouroboros and a Viper. That's 4 traces, and if any of them succeed, you get a tag.
Plus, there's probably a Bernice Mai in that remote also.
And that also traces again, giving you a 5th tag.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty brutal.
So that lawyer up, kind of hedging against that. Obviously, he's running this because he also runs Account Siphon.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here, that's just a little upside to running lawyer up.
Yeah.
Now, while I don't like lawyer up in conjunction with Account Siphon, because you're not necessarily going to have them at the same time as giving this as an example, right? This lawyer up, we're going to see is just going to sit in his hand dead for several turns because he doesn't have the Account Siphon.
Mike looking at his ice, taking stock a little bit.
Seeing how protected he feels.
Playing the Guess Who game. How protected does he feel?
I think
he's thinking
he should feel pretty good.
I think there's a pretty obvious play here. And that's score that too good to be true.
Good to be true. Yeah, it feels bad scoring it.
And he's not going to. I think he's really... Mark is giving him so much time, and I think Mike is just literally just giving it right back right now.
That's true.
This is a bit of a mistake, I think. I think I'd just be scoring agendas.
Too good to be true, it feels so bad to score it. Especially as
NDN,
because you're like, I can have a 3 for 2 out of hand because I'm playing AstroScript pilot program. But
and here's the thing: right now, I think he could score all 3 of those agendas pretty quickly in this board position. I think he's got a lot of power, and I would just score that.
Yeah, the more time he gives Mark,
and then if he got that Beal in the AstroScript, he's sitting at 5 points. He just needs any of his 2 for 3s. And he could score and win. I think that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. But
I know sometimes decks have alternate plans, but I think if you can score agendas, there's no reason not to.
Right.
Because sometimes then you just win, right?
Also, having a scored 1-pointer kind of signals that you might have an archer, right? You can, if you're scared of an archer, you don't have to be scared if there's no agenda scored.
And if someone's being shy about running, having that 1-pointer out is going to make them a little shyer.
Yeah, that's very true. So now we see Mark playing an HQ interface.
Correct.
Now it looks like he's wanting to access some cards from HQ. Is he going
Which
to
way is he
install
go through?
the corroder?
Well, he probably needs to.
Instead, he opts to. I think keeping it until the first click of his next turn is a good,
I mean, that's
solid surprise.
But he has to install it. I mean,
I think
Crypsis $8.
I think Mike has to know that he has the corroder, right? Because Mark discarded a corroder very early.
Yes.
Very, very early. So he's got to know that Mark has it.
Mike finally scoring this, really giving Mark 2 extra turns.
I don't know. Maybe
that could have been
one extra turn. I think keeping it there 1 extra turn after he installed it is not a bad plan. But I think keeping it there as long as he did, maybe that was a bad plan. Now, I know that he opted to score the too good to be true here. Maybe now that we see an HQ interface and probably guess that he has a corroder, maybe we can guess that he's going to try and run HQ, where we know that he only has a few cards, 2 of which are 2-point agendas. So maybe instead of scoring the too good to be true that turn, he might have
just installed
over it. You know, having a too good to be true in the archives is not a bad play.
Sure.
If they decide to run archives just to see if you're being cheeky,
it's only a point.
Yeah, it's only 1 point and a tag, which buys you extra time.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Mark has the crash space for the recurring credits and removing tags, but
he's full on memory right now.
It still costs him a click. Yep, Mark playing the corroder.
On 4th click, he's running. It's also dangerous running on your 4th click, folks.
Okay, so he pays 1 for the corroder. Or, I'm sorry, for the wraparound, pays 1. And then does Mike choose to res this next piece of ice? Now we have an HQ interface.
He's going to see 2 cards. This could be dangerous. He has 2 agendas in that hand. Let's see what he gets.
Astroscript.
That's a big card to get.
And the 2 agendas.
Just want to point out, had he scored that too good to be true earlier,
either that or just trashed it
Mike would be sitting at
the HQ interface.
Sure, he would be sitting at 3 points and scored Astroscript, and Mark probably would have just gotten the Beal right there. So again, I think that's a tough call to make.
In hindsight and from above, it's definitely a lot easier to decide that.
Sure, absolutely.
We don't know exactly what he's thinking. So Mike also opts to put a 3rd piece of ice on archives to kind of hedge against the sneak
and he
door
installs something into that remote.
Yes. Now, is that an agenda? I don't know. It could be an agenda. Mark just saw 2 agendas from hand. It could be a signal that there is even more agendas in his hand because he didn't miss it all.
Also, folks, running on your 4th click, another thing, Mark also has an emergency shutdown. And so
he just never gets to use it.
He lost the opportunity running on the 4th click to kill that toll booth and then making Mike res that again. Because as soon as I shut that down, I'm running that toll booth again.
Yeah, make him res it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here we see Mike res a Melange Mining Core, and he chooses to use it for his turn, gaining him $7.
Money up.
Dude, Melange can get really out of hand, especially in a deck that's trying to pay out some traces.
Yeah, Melange is just a fantastic card.
Yeah, and one that sits around for a couple of turns is even better.
Mm-hmm.
If Mike gets enough money here, he can really leverage some of his ice, leverage some of his traces.
Plays an E3 implants. That's
it's questionable play.
I think so.
We haven't seen anything that E3 will benefit him for. We don't see a knight. He's not playing a knight. No Darwin.
Nothing that breaks for 2.
Right, either that or nothing that breaks for a click, like Biorite Ice. But I think if I were Mark here, I think I would try and break through any of the centrals that I can. Either that or try and go kill the Melange, because the Melange can just make the Corp so much money over the course of several turns.
He's using Sneak Door Beta again on his 4th click.
Now I think we really need to punish him. Make it so he can't get in again. And
we see a flare.
Yeah,
that's a big card.
That's huge. Right now, Mark really only has Crypsis that can break the flare, and flare is strength 6 with a single subroutine, meaning it costs Crypsis a virus token and $7 to break through.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Now after that, it only costs 1 plus whatever the face down piece of ice is. So minimum of 8 to get in. But the thing is, if the piece of ice behind the wraparound is not a barrier, then he'll have to trash his Crypsis to break. So I think we might just see Mark, pay to break the flare and stop here. Because you never know what that piece of ice could be. You don't want to lose, like if it's an archer, you could lose both the Crypsis and the corroder.
Yep.
Or who knows, maybe even the sneak door beta. But
I've also seen Katie Jones has been sitting on the table. I don't think she's ever been pumped.
I think he's taken money from her once. And it was up to either 9 or 12. But
Katie's used to getting used a little bit more than that.
She likes being taken advantage of.
She's a working girl, folks. She typically earns her keep.
Yep.
If you know what I mean.
So I think Mark here, I think we need to start. We're still on the run. So he
going into the tank.
Decides to break, spending the $7, and runs into the wraparound. I think he's deciding to jack out or not. I think he's getting a little greedy. I think he wants to go all the way in. He knows that Mike didn't res that piece of ice the first time around, so
not gonna res it this time.
Yeah. So he's in. Gets to see 2 cards for the because of the HQ interface, and sees a Scorched Earth. Oh man.
That is an alt-art Scorched Earth. And a toll booth.
And a toll booth. A bunch of
those are Netrunner cards, folks.
They are certainly Netrunner cards.
Those are possibly 2 of the most Netrunnery cards.
Netrunnery, yes. So passes it back to Mike. Mike, he's got a melange going. I think he really can't. I don't know. Does he keep some agendas in hand? Will Mark be willing to pay the $7 each time to break the flare? That's the question.
That's a lot of money.
So
it's an expensive run to get into HQ.
He installs something over the wraparound. He trashes the wraparound and installs something, a third piece of ice on the wraparound.
By the way, spending 7 and still not shutting anything down.
That's true. Running on the 4th click. That emergency shutdown, just a dead card in his hand right now.
And also, if he hit a snare or something, I mean, now he knows that there's a Scorched Earth. You really start to have to be cognizant of that.
That's true. Yeah, running on 4th click, hitting
often
a snare.
Dangerous.
Yeah. I think now that he's seen the snare, or the Scorched Earth, he really should stop running on the 4th click.
Also, hitting an Ichi or an Archer on your 4th click is really, really going to devastate you.
Ichi will cost him $8 to break with Crypsis. Yeah, it's just not a fun day. I think running early, if you're scared of the ice, running early is definitely the way to go.
Yeah. So
he ends up pitching that HQ interface. I think he's not planning to go there anytime soon. So I think here, if I were Mike, I would start focusing on that remote and R&D, which R&D looks like it's pretty secure. We've got 2 face-down pieces of ice, a pop-up window, and an upgrade. And the remote, well, we don't know exactly what's on the remote.
We could certainly guess.
Yeah, he did install something that would at least be taxing.
I would assume it's a Chilo or a Bernice.
Oh, on R&D?
Yeah.
Yes. It's probably going to be it's probably going to be a Bernice Mai. Just because, well, most of the time you only run two city grids, 2 Chilo city grids in this deck. And it is a region, so you can only have one of them.
Correct.
So I would rather have the region on my remote. So it's, because of that, it's most likely Bernice Mai. And I think because of the Bernice Mai in the remote, or in R&D, he expects them to run R&D a lot more.
Yep. Tries to install a fairy.
He's really not doing that.
He's out of memory. Let's see if Mike realizes that or not before anything happens. He's going to res an RSVP. Mike right now not realizing that Mark is over memory.
I think they realize this in
about mid-run.
RSVP, pretty good here. It costs Crypsis $5 to break, 4 for the strength and 1 for the subroutine.
That's a really, really good card.
That's really good. I think, and the thing is, breaking it with Crypsis makes it so that if Crypsis wants to break something else, Crypsis dies, right?
Yeah.
So I think Okay, here they realize how much memory. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would continue with this run. You don't even need. Okay, if you're not going to continue, you don't need to break the RSVP.
I mean, yeah.
So let's see. Let's see exactly what Mark decides to do with this run.
There you see the 5. I'm assuming that means 5 memory, which is exactly what you have out. So we'll need to trash something. They're resolving.
There we go.
And
trashing the fairy.
He just decides to trash it. Seems fair.
Because he had already made another action after it installing. If they had realized that before he made another run, then I would be okay with him returning it to hand, but he'd already initiated a run.
Yeah, correct.
So, the RSVP. $5, does he spend it?
I have a question. At that point, would you have just ditched the sneak door and kept the fairy?
Probably. You've pitched the HQ interface, which probably means you're not really intending on running HQ much anymore. And the thing is, like, okay, right now it costs
you
$10 to get an HQ the normal way. In the back way, it could cost anywhere between $7 and, I don't know, $27.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we definitely know that right now, going in the easy way is
just better.
Is the cheaper way. Is most likely the cheaper way.
Yeah.
Because we see that Mike was willing to trash a wraparound that cost only 1 to break. So
now he's gonna
everything else. Okay. He runs and he breaks.
Breaks RSVP.
And we see a Data Raven.
And I believe Mark is running. Is he running on his 4th click again?
Looks like it.
Which means, and he knows that he has a Scorched Earth, which means
he cannot continue.
Cannot continue. Guess what, guys? Another reason not to run on your 4th click.
Yep. So right here, he's probably not going to continue. He'll just opt to end the run instead of take the tag from the Data Raven.
Right now, this is not a super taxing server. I mean, you have an RSVP which costs 5 for Crypsis.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Data Raven costs...
It's just super annoying.
It is super annoying.
Oh my goodness. Because you have to get rid of the tag because we saw the saw the Scorched. And you have to either break it or beat the trace. Neither of which is really inexpensive at all. Because we don't have another killer. So Data Raven also costs 5. So that's $10 plus the pop-up window, $11. Plus the tag remaining after the end of the run, making it a total of $13. I mean, he's got the crash space to remove the tag. But
sure. Mike gaining some more money. I think he needs to...
He has not been hurting for money at all this game.
He's going to install something.
Boom. Is it an agenda? I sure hope so.
Could be.
He needs to start leveraging his money. He's got a fat stack of cash there and can probably keep Mark out if he wants to.
Yep.
And the thing is, he's really only scoring his agendas the easy or the hard way, so he doesn't have to spend 6 for the Sand. He doesn't have to spend 4 for the Biotic Labor and 3 more for the advances. So as long as he's got $3 at the end of Mark's turn, he can score that agenda. So Mark here opts to play some economy cards, make up some money. He did just pay $5 plus running into the Data Raven, so I was trying to recoup some of that loss. So for second click, he draws, and we see the Peacock.
That's a Netrunner card.
Just waiting for that.
It's our favorite card.
He can finally get into HQ.
Yes, he can.
He can get in the easy way. So does he play that? I don't know. Now, the cool thing about Peacock, when compared to like Gordian Blade, some of the common decoders, is it actually breaks Toll Booth for 7, which is exactly the same as it costs Gordian Blade to break Toll Booth. So
maybe not that bad of a card.
Maybe not that bad. I think it'll definitely be dwarfed. Oh my goodness, we just see an Astroscript scored on Mike's side.
Astroscript with a token, folks.
Yep.
Always dangerous.
Well, like I was saying, I think that Peacock...
By the way, Mike probably could have just won at this point had he not hung on to the...
That's
too
true.
Good to be true.
That's a very good point. Mark ran at the perfect time, right after scoring the Too Good to Be True.
Yep.
And took those 2 agendas right from under his nose. Now I think Peacock, while a good card, it will be shortly outclassed by the Honor and Profit Passport.
Still doesn't have memory. The criminal breakers are very colorful, by the way. We have
They
Peacock
are.
and Aurora.
Yes.
Very, very colorful.
No joke.
Maybe we'll get a rainbow.
I think Fairy and Femme are kind of like monotoned, right? They're like
Yeah.
purple and blue, both of them. So, but those are the standard killer. The non-killer ones are definitely the more colorful ones. I think once Passport comes out, though, I think we're going to see a lot less of Peacock.
Yeah,
Passport is
very good.
It's an Honor and Profit card. It is a Centrals only. You can only use it to break ice on Central servers, and it's a lot more efficient than Passport. It's definitely more standard in its breaking. It's two to bump it by 2 for 2 strength, and then 1 to break a Kogate subroutine. So it's definitely more efficient than Peacock. But yes, I think so. Here, Mark, I think Mark needs to, I don't know,
run.
He needs to run. Yeah, he's at 5 points.
I think once you see Mike has an Astro script, I mean,
you got to get it going.
The pressure is on now.
If he can find that third Astro script,
we
have 2 scored already. 1 on Mark's side, 1 on Mike's side. If Mike can find the third one, then all of a sudden it's a tied game, and
Mike has a huge
deal
advantage.
Wins. Yeah. So I think we got to start finding where those agendas are.
And also, we've seen Two Maker's Eyes, so we're unlike Mark is probably running out of ways to dig deep into R&D, so he needs to start seeing cards often.
Right. So here we see Mike score Project Beal out of hand using the Astroscript token.
There you go. Tied game.
Tied game. Now we wish that could have been an Astroscript, but it's not always a perfect.
That's
so
true.
We'll take the Project Beal. Now here, I don't know if he has breaking news or not. Well, the breaking news would certainly be good here in closing the game.
I kind of doubt he does because he's running the Too Good to Be Trues. It's probably all the 1-pointers that he's running.
Right. And I think at this point, we can safely ignore Archives and HQ if I were Mark, because Mike is going to score every agenda he can out of hand.
Yeah.
Or put him into the remote. Mark hasn't ever run the remote, so we can say that it's pretty safe. But I think the focus here is at least testing the waters on the remote if something gets installed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then trying to efficiently get into R&D. Now, I don't know if Mark is playing R&D interface. He probably is not, because we've seen 2 Corroders already and some Maker's Eyes, and that's a lot of influence.
And a Mimic we've seen.
And a Mimic. So that accounts for at least 2/3 of his influence. He's probably not running the R&D interfaces.
Probably not.
So I think we need to just start efficiently getting there. Maybe a Femme Fatale on the Data Raven might make it easier, turning the 5 from Crypsis into a single 1.
Also ignoring that tag, so it saves you the click and $2 more. So.
Exactly. So
really, with a Crypsis, you can assume that costs 7 credits and 2 clicks.
Yeah. And 2 clicks? No.
One additional.
If we Femme it.
Yeah. So 1 additional click.
Right. That's true. Yeah, with the Crypsis. Yeah, that you could play with the Peacock. Peacock breaks RSVP for 4.
That's 1 less than Crypsis.
But it's 1 less buck and 1 less click. So
gonna run HQ.
And he gets into HQ for $1 less than he would with Crypsis. Wait. 1 plus 7. No, $2 less.
Yeah.
Gets in for $8. He does have 1 click after this.
See if he uses it to shut down the toll booth. I would.
So he breaks in. Oh, he does not have the Peacock at this time, so it's costing him $10.
Yeah, no. Because he hasn't trashed
2 cards because of HQ interface.
Oh.
And he sees the Beal for the win.
Wow.
Oh, and a market research, character assassination? Market research?
Like I think really, that's market research, yeah. I think really here we've seen that you, if you can be scoring agendas, I think you probably should be.
Yeah, I think it might have been, in hindsight, it was definitely a misplay holding on to the Too Good to Be True for that long. But I think knowing when to score the agendas, knowing when to feel safe. in scoring the agendas. It's kind of tough as the Corp, but definitely in this game, scoring the Too Good to Be True that late was probably a misplay.
All right. So, folks, we are going to sign off. Please take a look at the game 2 of this match. In that match, we'll see Kit versus Personal Evolution.
Yes. Kit versus PE. Yep.
All right, folks. We'll see you in that next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.